From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. From the start to the finish, go hard and we winning. It's the heart of a villain, it's the heart of a villain. Hey yo, heart of a villain beats hard in the centrifuge. Bearded BP, 100 interviews. All it takes is 2 mics and 1 line. This is Bearded Villains podcast worldwide. Driving cross countries, getting ball tires. Fam across ponds, always inspired. Chapters connect, and then it's on fire. Check your phone, cause BV is like a live wire. They said that we couldn't do it and that another could. Never underestimate the power of brotherhood. Every bro, every chapter, every caption. Heart of a villain, bro, lights, camera, action. Action, action, action. Let's go. BP. From the start to the finish, go hard and we win, and it's the heart of a villain.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another, well, wow, I don't even know what to call this kind of special edition we're doing here tonight. This is out of sorts for us. Feels weird to be doing this thing early in the day. It reminds me back when we were like locked down in COVID times. And I used to come on and do a mid-morning show for 30 minutes a day. Yeah, I don't know. It feels weird, but hey, it is episode 194 of The Heart of a Villain, the podcast and live stream devoted to the Bearded Villains Worldwide Brotherhood. And this is the first episode of October, the 6th of October. We are on a Friday, and it is 4 p.m. Central Time. It's weird. I usually am able to have a glass of bourbon with me here and just chilling. But unfortunately, I can't do any of that today because I got to go to the local community theater in just a couple hours because I'm running sound for a musical. So that's my schedule. So those of you who don't know what I've been up to, local community theater, occasionally I run sound for the shows and musicals that they have going on there. And this week, we have opening night tonight. So we've been in rehearsals now for 4 or 5 weeks. And that's what I'm doing in my evenings. That's why the schedule for the podcast has been off for the live stream the last few weeks. And so the next 2 weeks will be kind of weird. It may be another daytime broadcast next week. We'll see. And then finally things will kind of get back to normal for a few weeks. So, it is what it is. I don't even know. We got a handful of people here watching us live. That's kind of what it is right now. And we'll see. We'll just see where the day takes us. I know we got an interview coming up here I'll be sharing with you. I had earlier today with Jesse, the captain of the Queen City Villains, talking about ECM. Of course, that's East Coast meet here in the States. And they're building up for this event. It was really, really good conversation. Had a nice long conversation with Jesse about what the Queen City guys have been up to, an odd transition that they had to go through just late in the game, kind of before a big event. So it's been a lot of fun for him and a big learning curve for him as well, it sounds like. So I want to give a quick shout out to the guys that are here, to everybody that's here live in the comments section, because surprisingly, there are some people here. I didn't think we would have anybody. I thought I'd be all by myself today. Big Mike, what's up, buddy? How you doing? Evening brothers, Hillbilly says, how you doing? Oh, I forgot to bring boys in here. Let's see. Big Mike saying, what's up, y'all? That's right, buddy. Hillbilly saying evening, brothers. Yes, it's evening here. It's late evening over there for you guys. Mr. Moore, how you doing? How you doing with the ghosties? Love it. Rob is here with us. It's always interesting to see. He always finds a way to get here, right? Robba. Morning, good afternoon, good evening. His traditional greeting always seems to fit, doesn't it? Mars is checking in with us. Evening, everyone, from Oktoberfest here in Kitchener, Canada. All right. Enjoy the Oktoberfest times. Anybody else here? JD Moore. Let's see. We got Buddy. Buddy's checking in with us as well. Hey, Buddy, how you doing? Sure, chef. Been waiting all day for the podcast. There you go. Yeah, I said last night. I said, hey, it's going to be any time in the next 24 hours because I didn't know where I was going to be able to fit it in the day. So that's where we're at. But I appreciate you guys for being here. So real quick, I got a whole boatload of chapter information as far as events coming up. And then I also have a whole boatload of some new merch stuff that's coming up for some chapters. So I want to share that stuff with you all first, and then we'll get into the interview I had with Jesse. So let's do, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Let's do merch first. What do you say, eh? Let's do merch. All right. So what do we got on merch on tap right now? Everybody's kind of tapped out, I know, right now. We got merch stuff everywhere. And this has been a tough year. Tough year for merch for chapters. I know guys have been, a lot of people have been on that struggle bus for money and spending money on things that they didn't want to have to spend. But a lot of that disposable income has been few and far between for a lot of people this past year. And I know that's made it an interesting transition for a lot of chapters who are used to throwing out a whole bunch of merch during the course of the year. So let's see what we got here. First off, on tap, I've got, this comes all the way from North Texas here in the U.S., Savage Strong t-shirt. Now, I wanted to include this little snippet that they have on their site. It says it's benefiting a North Texas brother, Gary Savage, and his family. He recently had an accident, and the chapter's doing this t-shirt to raise some money for medical purposes and everything for Gary. It's a Savage Strong with their X Factor on the back, and then also their X Factor on the front. So check out the North Texas chapter, if you want to be able to donate for this. These things are $20 a piece, and I have no idea how much longer or how long they're going to be selling these. But North Texas, the Savage Strong shirt is available right now, I believe. Next up, we've got this is the Virginia Villains. The Virginia Villains, and I don't have any other information on this other than to say that it's $27, and I believe it's a pre-sale, but I have no idea when it ends. I wish I had further information. Go to Instagram, check out the Virginia Villains. I can say that it's still out there and available because I checked right before we went live today. But $27. They have a variety of different colors for this shirt. Very cool design. I love that. I always love that stacked VA, that logo. It's always been very cool, the way that they do that. So Virginia Villains, their shirt, get out there, $27 on their website. Follow the links on their IG page for further information. Next up, whoops, we don't want to do that. We're going all over the place here. Let's see here. Forgot to click on the mousey thing there. Get rid of that one. All right, moving on. West Virginia has a memorial patch for the brother Ron that passed away earlier, and they're doing a Ghost in Memory of Ron patch coming around. I guess it's very fitting for Ron. So it's a 3-inch by 2.85-inch memorial patch. Now they're doing something special, and I wish I had the details of it, but go out there to their site, reach out to one of the West Virginia chapters, because they will tell you further details. They had some deal going on that if you purchase this patch, you were eligible for something else, I think. Don't quote me on that. I've been wrong before. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, I apologize. So, but the patch is pretty cool. A bearded ghost, looks like there, in memory of Ron. Go out there and grab one of those things for $10 if you can. Next up, we've got the Rocket City. I just came across this recently. The Rocket City Villains Jason patch. Now, what this is, if you can't see it, it's kind of a small picture here. It's a version of their normal chapter patch, of course, with all the different colors that they have. It's always, this patch is really cool, just because it's a really cool design, but all the bright colors involved in it as well. But they've, with their standard logo, they've also thrown in a little figure with Jason, the Jason mask on it. So that's that's a pretty cool thing. It looks like he's got a little knife in his hand too. Good Halloween edition too, if you collect the Halloween or horror patches out there. $12, the Rocket City Villains Jason patch. That's there. If you're interested, and you can't go to Beardingham, of course, is over there in England, which is, you should probably be able to tell because of the dollar amounts here on this shirt. The Beardingham 2023 shirt, it's £21 to £24 based off the size that you need. So Beardingham's always a great event. One of these days I'll get over to it. but the international travel plans, I have to be very careful about what I'm planning things for. So hell, it took me 49 years to get over there for the first time. So hopefully I can get over there again real soon. The Beardingham 2023 shirt available at Central England for 21 to 24 pounds. Grab one of those while you can. Next up, the Bearded Villains NSW. They're otherwise known as the Harborside Villains. They've got a couple things going on here. They've got their Santa panda looking thing, their toy drive patch. $13.50 is what they're charging for this thing. It's their Christmas toy drive patch. Pretty cool design there with the little panda with the sunglasses. And of course, the doesn't snow down there, I'm assuming, during the winter months, during Christmas time. So hence the sunglasses and the no shirt on the panda. But very cool design. $13.50 for the Harborside Villains Christmas patch for the toy drive. They also down south have Ironside Villains. The Ironside Villains have a bunch of stuff on sale right now. Since they've come out with the new name and they renamed themselves Ironside last year or the year before? It's always been interesting. It looks cool, that new banner that they've come out with, and Ironside Villains. So they've got some shirts going on, ceramic mug, all sorts of stuff going on. Looks like they got a whole new store going on. So hit up the Ironside Villains on IG, find their store, and you can grab some cool stuff. And then finally, what I have, I already talked about this one, looks like. Okay. Hey, I'm at a loss right now, guys. I'm at a loss. Hey, but that's chapter merch for today. All right. So moving on. What we got next here? We're going to move on to chapter news. Then we're going to get right into our interview. So let's do some chapter news. Otherwise known as chapter news calendar. All right. So what do we got on tap here? First up, this upcoming weekend away from weekend. So next weekend. The 13th and 14th here in the States is ECM. We're going to be talking just a few minutes with Jesse, the captain of the Queen City Villains. They're the hosts of the ECM 2023. It's going to be in Charlotte, North Carolina. All sorts of good plans. They've got a great veterans charity lined up that they're going to be for the proceeds are going to go to. Sounds like an awesome time. ECM is usually a pretty good time if you know, you know. But so that's ECM, October 13th and 14th. Then we have 3 different events. Count them, 3 here in the States. Depending on where you are, find one because they're all over the place. And unless you're really technically on the East Coast, you don't have an excuse. If you're in the South, the Midwest, or the West, then you should find one of these events. Very cool stuff. All Villains Eve, Saturday, October 21st. It is in Mesa, Arizona, hosted by the Phoenix Villains. This is a raffle, costume contest, face painting, all sorts of stuff going on. But also, I've said it and I love it, what they do. It's a wrestling event. They have a professional wrestling event tied in with this thing too. Very cool time. They're raising money for Phoenix Children's Hospital Toy Drive. Again, this is in Mesa, Arizona at Desert Wind Harley-Davidson. Your hosts are the Phoenix Villains for that one. Next up, the Mississippi Villains. Mississippi is celebrating the 7th anniversary. It's in Biloxi, Mississippi. They got a beard competition. I'm just reading this here. It's the Ground Zero Blues Club. So you got live music. You got a meet and greet the night before on the 20th. They got several beard categories going on. Says all ages welcome. They will be having the Traveling Gnome, which is part of the beard competition. It's the award that goes to, I believe, the most represented chapter there. So, if you're down in Mississippi, down in the South, for the Mississippi Villains 7th anniversary, they got a beard competition benefiting the Gulf Coast Center for Nonviolence. Again, that is October 21st, 2023, coming up on Saturday, October 21st. Next up, my chapter here in Northern Indiana. That's right. We have the return of Ezra Crow. The return of Ezra Crow, our annual Halloween costume contest, beard competition. And this time we're adding in a third thing because we just didn't have enough to do. So we're putting in there a tattoo contest also, which includes best men's tattoo, best women's tattoo, and a worst tattoo. So, and if you have 5 worst tattoos, you can enter in all 5 for $5 a piece. It's all for good cause. All the proceeds of this event are going to the Ronald McDonald Houses in Northern Indiana. We actually have 2, so we split the funds between both of those places. We also collect a whole bunch of snack foods, individually wrapped snacks that go to the Ronald McDonald Houses for their snack cart, which kind of acts like their trick or treat Halloween stuff. But also during the regular parts of the year, the other parts of the year, it's just a regular snack cart. And it also helps give snacks to the families that are there during the year. So, but particularly this time of year, it's really special for us to do because we offer up, because it gives them a way to do a version of trick or treat while they're in hospital, which, it's a big thing for kids to do trick or treat, and having the whole family at the hospital because you may have a brother or a sister or loved one that's in need of medical care. You can't do the normal thing. So big deal that we do that. We love doing it. So this is the return of Ezra Crow, October 21st here in Northern Indiana. It's in Hobart, Indiana at the Hobart Moose Lodge. We do have a meet and greet. We don't expect a lot of people to come, but we're just going to have a blast on the meet and greet on Friday night. If you want to come hang out with us if you're anywhere nearby. But Saturday, bring your costume and just ready to have a good time. We got raffle prizes. We got some special raffle prizes available for the people that play some carnival games. We've got costume contest. We got everything. So come one, come all. It's an event to be had. So Northern Indiana, come one, come all for Return of Ezra Crow. Next up, we have Beards Away. Beards Away 4. Beards Away. 11/11/23, November 11th, 23 at Bunker Brew Pub again. That is in Virginia Beach, Virginia. That's all the details I have right now for it. Proceeds are benefiting the Vets House Inc. Vets House Inc. I've always loved the trophies that they use for this thing. It's always military inspired. It's just a really cool event. Beards Away, November 11th, 2023 in Virginia Beach, hosted by of course, your Virginia Villains. And then finally, the last one I have so far goes into next year. That's right. The Villains step up, they say. Villains step up, they say. The Smoky Mountain Villains are having a beard contest and charity event Saturday, the 13th of January. Saturday, January 13th at Iron Forge, 371 Lonesome Valley Road. It's in Seaverville, Tennessee. The proceeds for this event go to Isaiah 117. Isaiah 117. It's a place that cares for children awaiting foster placement. So anyway, moving into next year already, planning it out. January 13th, Seaverville. Help out the Smoky Mountain Boys with their event. All right. Hey, guys, that's what I've got so far. If you've got an event that we want to get on the calendar for the rest of this year or going into next year, by all means, let me know. We'll get it on there for you. All right. I did not mention, because I had it on for a few weeks, but hey, this is my show. I can do what I want, right? This is the Ezra Crow, what I'm wearing right now. The Ezra Crow return. The Ezra Crow World Tour t-shirt, available on our chapter website, bvnorthernindiana.org, bvnorthernindiana.org. You can get, this is the 2023 concert, it's paying homage to concert t-shirts of the past, right? So this is the 2023 concert t-shirt that we have. That's the World Tour t-shirt for 2023. Last year's concert World Tour t-shirt is also available for a short time. If you missed out on that one, it's available along with our cancer shirt, along with all sorts of other stuff out there. So go out there and grab what you want. bvnorthernindiana.org. All right. Hey, we got a lot of people chiming in here now. We got a lot of people jumped in. Good to see you all here. Love it, love it, love it. So here's the deal. We have an event coming up next weekend. not we, me, we, us. If you love the Bearded Villain community, if you want to help out a brother, if you want to go hang out with some brothers that you haven't seen for a bit, there's a thing called the East Coast Meet coming up. And what do you want to say? I'm going to bring in a video here, and let's just see what we see. If I can find it here. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. All right. So here is said video. Here is said interview with Jesse, the captain of the Queen City Villains, talking about, what's he talking about? He's talking about, whoops, we don't want to do that. I have had issues today, boys and girls, with some of these cameras. Suffice it to say. All right, so while I'm talking to you here, if this is your first time here, I do apologize that things have gone off the rails a little bit here. We will flip a coin here, and we'll make sure we get, as I'm talking to you. This is what happens. We do it on the fly. We move on the fly sometimes here, and we try to make things work best we can. And let's see what we find here. Where to open that one? All right, there we go. I think I got it set. Let's try it. See if this is my interview. Hey, coming up next weekend, not this weekend, next weekend, October 13th and 14th. It's the return of the classic, the awesome event that is ECM. Now, as you know, that thing travels around year to year. And this year, the Queen City chapter is the host of it in Charlotte. And here to tell us a little bit about it, and let me get you the little poster up on the screen here. ECM 2023, again in Charlotte, Friday the 13th. Love that date. I love the 13th. And October 14th as well in Charlotte, North Carolina, helping us. Welcome. Jesse's here to talk to us about it. Man, Jesse, how you doing?
What's up? Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Man, we've talked off air just for a few minutes about this crazy ride you've been on in the last several months. That's kind of tied in with ECM and everything. Just so everybody kind of knows, if they don't already know, you're relatively new to the position of captain, and then you have to jump into the leadership role, the primary leadership role, really, just to make sure everything happens the way that you want it to happen for ECM. Tell us a little bit about what the last several months has been like for you with the transition and kind of what's going on with Queen City.
It's been pretty interesting over the last, I'd say really just this entire year, with a restructure and people coming and going, and it's been pretty stressful, but it's turned into quality over quantity, which is, something I think a lot of chapters strive for, a lot of scouts, captains, whatever, look for, in this organization. But like I said, before this podcast started, we were talking before, as stressful as it has been, the group of guys I have now, the officers I have in place, have made this almost seamless. I've been taken aback several times, just like how things have just lined up, fallen into place, worked out in our favor. Honestly, the immense support, even prior to the oh crap, we still have to do ECM, just becoming captain, the immense support from all the chapters around me and even the chapters far away from me. All you guys have been super helpful and pushing me forward, getting me to who I need to be, where I need to be. And then once I got my officers into these positions, like I said, we've been doing pretty good, I'd say.
Yeah, you East Coast guys are kind of a tight knit group there. It's funny. It's like your own little mini cult over there. You like to keep that. It's the only chat that I know of. Just talking about the East Coast chat for a second. The East Coast Meet chat. It's funny because if you're not in the East Coast, you're allowed in that chat basically to go visit for the chat, and then they boot your ass out after the East Coast Meet, and they're like, nope, you don't need to be here anymore. And it's the only one that operates that way. So it's kind of fun to see. But, for those of us that like to stay in touch with you guys, it's a little bit odd. But, hey, you do you, boo. And but
there's been discussion here and there of having an actual like East Coast meet chat, just like there's one for the Smoky Mountain anniversary or Nash Vegas or Florida Summit, stuff like that. But I mean, there's already an East Coast villains chat. It just helped decrease some of the convolution of
Oh, sure.
having. I mean, I know a lot of guys out there who are in 30 or more chats. Yeah, I wake up to an unholy amount of notifications
Oh,
every day. I got to sort through.
yeah. It's not like I'm looking for chats to be a part of any longer. I am currently 2,819 messages that I haven't read in all the chats right now. So
Just
uh,
weaving through them.
it's crazy. But I mean, you were an officer, being an officer beforehand, before just recently in the last 4 months becoming captain. So you were around as an officer when the decision was made, and you guys raised your hands up and said we want to do ECM. But what's it the last year been like for you guys now, having to take over that leadership role? I mean, what from the original planning stages, and then here we are, just a week and a half out. What's that all been like for you?
I feel like I've seen a lot of what you've talked about on your show and what I've listened to a lot is just the BV burnout. Um, I'm not gonna speak for Chief because that's him, but because I have nothing bad to say about the man, but he was pretty burnt out of it. He has been the captain of Queen City since way before I came around, and he's been leading this group for a long time. Even as soon as Queen City was made, when North Carolina split and everything, and he just wanted to take a break, and I respect that. At the end of the day, it's just a beard club. We're just dudes hanging out, like-minded, wanting to do nice things for our community. But when it comes to a point where it's stressful, um, I don't want to say you don't look forward to it, but when it has that, okay, like that sucks. I don't want to see that out of anyone in BV, whether they're a officer, a member, whatever. I want my guys to be happy to be here. I want all you guys to be happy to be where you are in your chapters. That's what makes this all fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. I mean, you want to be able to look forward to seeing, the guys that are in your chapter. You want to look forward to hanging out with them on, when there's not an event, when there's not something official. You want to, we like to think of the group as a family, and I know here with us with our chapter, if more than 10 days goes by where 5, 6, 7 guys in our chapter don't get together at least once in a 10-day period, somebody's asking questions about what's up, what's going on. Because genuinely, I mean, we're really fortunate that we have guys that live somewhat close together, and not everybody. We've got guys spread 2.5 hours apart, but occasionally you like to see that. And it's rough. It's rough when you have guys that are, you know, feel like they're stuck, feel like they're, that they're leading because they have to, rather than leading because they want to any longer. And you
And
see
that's
that.
where
That's one of
once
those
I
burnout things we see.
once I became captain, and like I made notes in our chat and was like, all right, here's the roles for officers. Here's everything that being in that role entails. Please read it. Please understand it, because I want guys who want those spots to be there. I don't want to see someone who's just there because they want to be a sergeant or want to be a lieutenant or want the name or the title or anything. Like I need a solid group of dudes, and I honestly I have that, and I'm very thankful for that because that
Yeah.
has helped this, like I said, go almost seamlessly.
Yeah. Well, for a big event like this, I can only imagine. I mean, you have to tell the
Yeah.
guys, this is not my event. This is our event, and we're showcasing to the world, to everybody that's coming into our town. This is how we do it, and it takes
And that was
everybody. It
a big
really does. It
thing.
takes a village, man.
That was such a big thing because also like Queen City was the first chapter to host an East Coast event. which was also in October, which is also like one of our anniversaries for being a chapter. And there's just a lot of things that lined up with it, and then we saw there was a Friday the 13th in October, and seeing how a lot of guys in BV are um, but seeing how a lot of the guys within the organization are fans of horror, movies, collectibles, anything like that, we're like, well, you know, Friday the 13th, like, let's make it a little theme here. So, I mean, on top of the beard competition, there's also going to be a costume competition. And plenty of the raffle and auction items are horror themed. Even the logo for ECM, we went with what I call the horror hornet, which has little bits of Jason and Freddy and Pennywise and stuff, in with it together.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I know there's many of us, myself included, when we saw the date change for ECM this year, we were like, "Ah, you're killing me," because I wanted. I mean, I've not missed one in the last several years, but unfortunately, because
That also
it's only like a
wasn't,
week and a half away from our event. I couldn't go, so
and I know it falls in line with Poutine Fest up in Canada. Like I said, I didn't choose the date. I was there along for the ride at that point, but just been running with it.
no, what more can you do? I mean, once the date's decided, you got to go with it. And I
Yeah,
mean, let's be honest. You can't. There's so many. I mean, there's so many chapters out there now, and when you just even if you just look at the United States, there's so many chapters that you're gonna jump on top of somebody else's event eventually. There's only so many good weekends out of a year. There's not many things going on in, January, February, and early March. There's a couple, but everybody seems to wait for that April to September, October block, and then when you've got you know all those chapters looking for something to do, and some chapters multiple things to do, you can't help but bump on top of somebody else's event.
yeah, it's gonna happen, and like I said, I've been pretty nervous about this, but I'm really excited. All the people that I've spoken to and I've talked to, and I know they're coming. Like, I'm super excited for this. I can't wait because I mean, honestly, this year I went to the Smoky Mountain anniversary in January, which I had to leave early because I had a gig back in Charlotte, and then Nash Vegas. But like, I haven't been able to go out just because. I mean, outside of the BV world, my life's just been hectic between work and bands and jobs and this and that. But I'm more than stoked to see so many people next week, and I look forward to it a lot.
Yeah. Well, you have to. So let's dive into this thing, man.
Mhm.
What can everybody expect? What's gonna make this weekend, this ECM stand out from the get go? Let's just run through the get from jump on Friday the 13th, and then run through our schedule here.
Okay. Like I said, we got a lot of horror themes with it. I know most of that's going to be during the event on Saturday, but just with it being Friday the 13th, we're trying to be real spooky. Um, the On Friday though, the meet and greet and everything will be at a place called Pins Mechanical, which is just like an adult uh, arcade. There's miniature bowling, there's all kinds of games and stuff to do there, as well as they have beers and food and stuff like that. Plenty enough for us to do and get by, have fun, hang out. Um, I said the meet and greet days are always super fun because you have guys who haven't seen each other in a while or have only ever spoken to each other via line or Instagram or whatever, and are meeting for the first time, and that's always something to look forward to. After all of that, we'll probably venture up the street a little bit, a place called Goldie's. That's like a hip new upcoming place in Charlotte. There's always bands playing there. There's always stuff to do. I mean, just that area of Charlotte. Charlotte has a lot of stuff to do in it. I mean, really, you could. I know in the East Coast chat, Sudi had put a list of just places, events, things going on in the city, stuff to look at, go see. For the flag shoot on Saturday, I'm looking at there's a park called Latta Park, Latta, in Charlotte, but the court is painted the Charlotte Hornets colors.
Mm.
So I was like, that's definitely going to be a good place to get a good shot. Because there's a hill in front of it too, so you can get kind of an aerial shot of everybody. I just received the traveling black flag yesterday, so I will have that there, as well as our flag and our purple BV flag, the Queen City one. And as far as the event, it'll be at Brewers at 4001 Yancey, which is another big brewery. Charlotte's got a lot of breweries in it. If you're into craft beer of any sort, Charlotte's your place, man. There's got so much of it. But we'll be there. Um, they said we'll have a beard comp. That'll be your business beard, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 and over. Best in show, and then we'll also have a costume competition with it being Friday the 13th and everything. I I don't want to name any names, but I know a guy who came to the first TCM who had his face painted, who will be doing it again.
Okay. Okay. If
I
you know, you
definitely.
know.
I've only ever seen pictures of it. I never got to see it in real life, but Southern Maryland represent.
Yeah, yeah. All right, all right. So there we go. How many do you think you're gonna have for this costume contest? Diving into that because that's
Uh,
one of those weird things you never know who's gonna really go full in.
Honestly, as far as numbers for any of this, I have no idea. There was between the T-shirt orders, or like there was a poll in the East Coast chat about who all's coming, and I mean there's like 300 something people in the East Coast chat, but like less than 100 responded to going, even though I know of at least 100 going, between everybody I've spoken to. So I told myself I would rather plan for a decent event and exceed all expectations
Yep.
than throw everything in here, make this huge event, and then like it falls short.
Sure.
Um,
Sure.
because the charity that we're raising money for is actually, um, it's ran by my lieutenant, which is Stefan. He owns, speaking of breweries, he actually owns a brewery just north of Charlotte,
What?
and can yeah. Dude, he is probably one of the most successful people I know, because just on the strip of downtown Kannapolis, he has a brewery, a cidery, a roasting company, and an arcade, um, all on that strip.
All right. Well,
He's
I need to get in contact with him and see if he maybe wants. I'm looking for a job. Maybe we'll see if he wants to branch out and have a Midwest distribution point.
he actually just got a contract with the Charlotte Hornets to make a beer for them as well, which is super cool with that, being part of our logo and everything. Um, but he's a army veteran and probably the most American dude I've ever met in my life. Literally,
That's
he got
great.
woken up in the middle of the day while he was deployed in Afghanistan, and he told me they started getting attacked in the middle of the day. He jumped up out of bed 'cause he was taking a nap, and he said, "I was wearing sunglasses, my silkies, and my Crocs, and shot terrorists." And I was like, that's it, dude. And like his brewery, for instance, is all veteran owned and operated. He gives back to veterans.
That's
I think
great.
last year he donated over $100,000 within the year. We do a 9/11 stair climb every year, but the charity is his nonprofit called WAR, which is Warriors Always Rise, and
Very cool.
that's how he gives back to veterans, first responders, whether it's help with medical bills, help with mental health, giving people a break, like anything they can do to help out, because he's seen it, he's experienced, he's been through a lot in his time, and so he hates to see that when people come back, if they have trouble adjusting or having trouble just getting by.
Yeah.
when it comes to whether it's suicide or just bad mental health or just overwhelmed with bills. Like Warriors Always Rise has been there to help as long as I've known them. I've seen them do a lot. We've helped out with them a lot, and he's helped out a lot with all this. So like it was kind of a no brainer to use his nonprofit because that's stuff we've helped out with before and continue to do. So it's just easy to go with that where we know that's something we work with already.
Yeah. No, that's great, man. That's great. I mean, when you're talking about veterans charities, that's one of the best things that we can do right now, and well, anytime really. I mean, but the fact that there's such a cool tie-in with that is it's pretty badass. Well, tell me a little bit about the. Do you have any special like? I'm just trying to think of things that if people are on the fence, I'm not sure I can go. I'm not sure if I can, but we still got a week and a half to make a decision about some really cool stuff. Sometimes it's the little stuff that makes them want to go. Can you tell us anything about like some special prizes or special anything that are going to be there that people might want to
uh,
have a little payday ready for?
like I said, with it being horror themed, we have a lot of uh, horror themed items. For example, we do have a machete signed by the first actor to play Jason. I believe we also have a script for the first Friday the 13th that he also signed.
Wow.
Um, I know we have, and I need to confirm this. I know it's like a week away, but I need to confirm this that we do have a full Queen City patch set that will be up for auction. I know I don't even have a full set because it's so hard to gather everything. Um, but we were able to get one, and I have like some goodies and stuff. Where'd my bag go? I have some like little extra stickers and pins and stuff like that to throw into it. This hat actually was donated
Oh wow.
by Chief, so I was wearing it so people see it. That'll be up for raffle and auction. There's another. No, that's my hat. There's another Queen City hat. It
Oh
looks like the
yeah.
members only hat, but it's a little different. That'll be up for grabs as well. I definitely, I want to make, I would like to make this meet, dare I say, intimate. But like, I think, you know, I feel like I want everyone to be able to just relax, have a good time. I've been stressed out this year pretty good, so it's just going to be nice for me to be around everybody and see everybody, and for me to just catch my breath and catch up with everybody. I definitely look forward to making it as fun as I can for everybody. I want everybody to have fun. I know Charlotte's not the cheapest city by any means, but I want to make sure that everybody has a good time.
Yeah.
That I can give to everyone what they have given to me over the past 3 years is what my goal is for this.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. I'm a firm believer. I think that some of the best events that I've been to were ones that felt like they were much smaller, more honed in. I mean, the big events are great when you because there's a lot of people that you may not get a chance to see on a regular basis. But as I've always said, one of the biggest problems, the things I like least about the really big events, even though I still go because I love them, is the fact that there's no real connection with people. You hang out with probably about 5, 6, 7 people that you're happy to see, and you just hang out with them. But everybody else
Mm.
gets like 3 minutes, 5 minutes of your time.
Yeah,
Hey, how you
you're
doing? Good to
running
see you.
through,
Yeah,
putting faces to names, and then
yeah,
getting back to where you're comfortable, and like that was one thing. The very first meet I went to, it wasn't really a meet. It was just an anniversary party. It was Virginia and Northern Virginia anniversary 3 years ago. I was still hopeful. I hadn't even raised my flag or anything, but I drove like 5 hours up to Virginia, only knowing the guys in my chapter.
hmm,
I had done, like hopeful tasks. I had interviewed a couple guys outside of the chapter, and Scrappy was actually the first guy I interviewed, and I'm super thankful for that because I love that dude so much.
Yeah.
I know that like in Captain's Chat a lot, we give him a lot of shit and everything, but love that dude. But driving, 5 hours and then just being surrounded by a bunch of people that I didn't know was it made me pretty nervous at first. Like I said, I only knew like Chief, Sudi, and the guys that I came with, and but it wasn't too crowded that I couldn't still make relationships with the people around me, and super thankful because there's a lot of guys even now that I look through those pictures and I'm like, he was there at that event. I met him there. Like, man, it's been 3 years that I've known you now and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And I want people to see that and experience that and feel that and really see what I think BV is about. I mean, yes, it's a beard club. Yes, we do charity work. We all help out our communities. We're fairly like-minded for the most part, but it's just like those connections, those friendships you make that really make it worthwhile. That even if it's guys that are states away from you,
Hmm.
there's people that I talk to, every day, every week, that uh, I wouldn't trade those friendships for anything.
No, no, yeah, and that's the thing is that I mean, these guys that you get a chance to you call brother, and it means something. It's not just hey, But the big thing is the big events. The sad thing is that, and I've run into this. I'm sure you have too. You're talking with somebody maybe online or maybe like this. I do sometimes, and I've been the podcast now. I've been doing this for several years. There's been times where I've been talking to somebody and I'm like, man, I'm going to be there next weekend. I can't wait to meet you in person finally. And I hear from them later, well, we've already met once before for about 30 seconds 4 years ago. And I'm like,
Yeah,
you know, and that happens so often. You're like, I could swear I've met you, but yeah, we talked for like 2 minutes back in, 2018. And I mean,
yeah.
that's the downside
Recently,
to it.
recently, Ross from Beard of Villains, Louisiana, came up to Charlotte for work, and so Morgan had hit me up. He's like, "Hey, got one of my guys up there. Take care of him." I'm like, "Cool, got you." And so I hit up Sudi because Sudi and I are the only ones who actually live in Charlotte. Everyone else is just right outside of it,
Okay.
in some direction. But like I told Sudi about it, and he's like, "Oh, what's his name? What's his line name?" And like I showed him a picture. He goes, "Wait a minute!" And like Sudi went through his phone, scrolled way back like 4 years or
Yeah.
something, and he's like, "Yo, I met this guy in Louisiana like 4 years ago," and like had a picture of the two of them. So
Yeah.
that was cool to be able to, they hadn't seen each other since, and just caught back up like it was nothing.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. You mentioned the picture thing. I am a I am a huge believer and firm proponent in live in the moment, enjoy the time that you have with people. And I'm not one who goes, you go to a concert and you're just sitting there taking videos all night long. I know I'd rather enjoy it. I'd rather remember it that way rather than, be one of several thousand people that has the exact same video of whatever it
Yeah,
is. But the one thing I will say though that's different than that is I always encourage guys take pictures at these events. Take the selfies with guys or the ussies as you might call it or whatever you want to call it.
I've
Take
never
those.
heard that,
Oh,
but that I get it.
that's from Ted Lasso. Uh, but take those pictures with the guys because there's been so many times where I've been to an event and I mean I've been to 10, 12 events in the last year and a half, 2 years, and I know for a fact I've hung out with this one specific guy for hours on end each time, and then I look through my phone and I don't have a single picture with that person, you know?
Not,
And
yeah,
that's cool because I've spent the time with them and I'd much
well,
rather do that, but
it is.
make sure you take that time to take those pictures too.
Mhm.
That's
That's
important.
one thing I do appreciate about like having the folders and stuff in the chats is that everybody upload them. So even if I forget to take one, which I often do, I'm usually just so caught up with I need to go find this person, I need to go catch up with this person, I gotta see these things and do this or whatever, running around. and I often totally forget to take my phone out, take a picture, take a selfie, take a hussy, whatever. And but I'm so appreciative of those folders and stuff like that, so I can go back and be like, oh yeah, they took this photo.
Yeah.
Now I can get stuff like that.
How many times have you been in that situation? You're looking back through all these photo albums of these events. You're
Woo!
like, I was there for that picture. Really? I forgot I was in that. I can't believe I was in that
Man,
one either.
for
Especially if you've
birthdays,
been,
anything like that. I'm like, oh, I know I have a photograph with this guy somewhere.
yeah. Well, man, I'm excited for you guys this week. I'm bummed because I'm not going to be there because I know there's going to be a bunch of people that I have not been able to see this year. One of the things I've noticed is that, and this is not specific to any one event, but I've noticed it in the last year. 2 years ago, I know my captain and my co-captain and I, we try to travel, to everything that we can to represent our chapter and whatnot, and just to get out and be able to support the other chapters. And a bunch of our other guys in our chapter try to do the same thing. But um, last year compared to this year,
Mhm.
there were some events that we went to that this year that we've been to before in years past, and we've just noticed that kind of universally attendance has been down at just about every event that we've been to. Even some of the events that there were it felt like hundreds of people in the past, everything. So I've always told people, and I've cautioned people this in this last year, you know don't lose your expectation. Don't feel bad about, if this is a thing that you've been doing and that's your third, fourth, fifth year of doing something, don't be surprised if the attendance is down a little bit, and don't let it bug you, because it's more important to, and that's kind of what we're pushing for our event on the 21st is we felt like we had a pretty good attendance last year with it. And we think we might, same thing again, but we're also trying to say for everybody that's going to be there, that's who you focus on, not the people that couldn't be there. You focus on
Mhm.
the ones that are there to make it the most memorable event you can, and that's, to me, that's what makes the things that's what the special part of it
That's what
is.
I'm
Is
aiming for, because
yeah,
there was a big thing that I kind of hung on to when, Chief stepped down and we're trying to rearrange everything, and it was something that I had mentioned to the officers, like when all this was the other officers when all this was happening, and eventually, to the chapter, and I was like, listen, the first two words in our mission statement is to unite. If we're not united, nothing we do is going to be successful. And that's one thing that I'm really hoping to achieve, like I said, with this event, is to really have that. It doesn't have to be huge, but as long as the core of it has that brotherhood that we talk about so often, that's my goal. I want to see us united. It's not about me. It's not about this chapter. It's not about the East Coast. It's about BV. It's about doing something good. It's about having your friends around, and that camaraderie that I think it does help a lot with, a lot of people feeling that BV burnout.
mhm,
And I know some people have heard about the scooter story and stuff like that, but I mean, honestly, that was some of the best time of my life. That a guy from Michigan, a guy from Pennsylvania, a guy from Ohio, and myself can be in a state that none of us are from, in a city that none of us have been to, and ride scooters around at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, just making some of the best memories, just
yeah,
being carefree. The East Coast last year was an amazing event. I love all the Maryland chapters. I love those guys so much. But there was a lot around just the events itself that just really, I just made it so much for me.
right,
Um, Such a good event, such good vibes. Just it was that's what I hope to bring to the table this year.
yeah. It is. It's the closeness. Hey, you know what it is? It's that heart of a villain, man.
Was it name drop?
I had to say it. But man, I'm excited for this thing, man. Make
I am.
sure I know I'm not in the East Coast meet or the East Coast chat, so I'm not going to see the photo dumps or anything like that. But do me a favor and try to assign somebody, or yourself or somebody, share some pictures out there in your from your chapter chat, from your chapter IG or something, so we can start seeing some pictures floating out there. I think
I
that's
know
that's
Studi
awesome.
has always been good about having his camera out. Um, from the moment I met him, just walking around, anybody, bam, selfie, got the camera out, ready, like let's take this picture.
Yeah.
Um, he's always been good about that. I know that we'll get a lot of pictures from him, and um, and I look forward to seeing a lot of these guys who have been either part of the Queen City chapter or just a villain as long as I have. Over the past 3 years, um, like I don't want to sound cocky or anything in any way, but like I traveled a lot over the past 3 years, and I've started to become like who people knew as Queen City,
Right.
whether I was going to Chicago or Miami or wherever. Like I'm just who everyone knew, and I feel like a lot of that had to do with the captain role falling into my lap. But I mean, come next year, I there's going to be a good handful of us that travel as a pack, and try to really show out, to show up as Queen City, to
Hmm.
make our presence known again, because like one of the hashtags or taglines or whatever that we've been using for this event is "the buzz is back," which was used for the Charlotte Hornets when they left Charlotte and went to New Orleans, and then
Yeah.
we had the Charlotte Bobcats. But then the Charlotte Hornets came back to Charlotte, and like that was the whole big thing. The buzz is back, and bringing everyone's hype back for it. So I've been using that hashtag a lot. The buzz is back. Welcome to the Hornets nest. What have you, and I'm excited to see a lot of my guys who maybe haven't traveled or haven't traveled a lot see everyone travel here
Hmm.
and experience this firsthand. Again, I really like. I want so much joy to come of everyone's experience at ECM this year.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for. I mean, we finances are finances, family, and people's work schedules and everything don't allow everybody to travel, and we get that. I mean, we know that. But if you're unwilling to try, if you're just content and happy to be sitting in your own little corner of the world where your chapter exists, and you only hang out with your chapter guys, and that, to me, that seems content to you, you're missing out on so much of what BV could be. It's really I feel so bad for those people.
It is a weird double-edged sword because I do appreciate the guys who are very um loyal. I know that's a big word for us, but the guys who are loyal to the chapter, the guys who are always here at every Queen City event, who are always active in the chat, I appreciate that. But I also know some of those guys who don't know that many people outside of the chapter, or maybe new guys before and don't really get out much now. But I definitely look forward to seeing that again, because I know not many people even know who my lieutenant is, and I think he's one of the greatest dudes I've ever met in BV, and he's from my own chapter. He's a
Yeah.
solid dude, a solid American veteran. I just like I he's a good dude. I am excited for everyone to meet my new officers, see the guys we have, and really make this a good event.
Yeah, I'm excited. I keep saying it, man. I'm excited for you because you get that blood going, man, and you get the excitement going. And after you're going to come off this, hopefully the guys will understand. You'll have this high when you get done with this event, and everybody will be like, "Yeah, let's go, let's go, let's go." And keeping that
And
momentum going is the hard part. So, but
that was a thing come last year when we took the bid for ECM, and we were all excited, super excited. Everyone's pumped. All right, let's get these ideas out. And then it kind of fades or feet
yeah,
shuffle and stuff. And like this year, we've had some discrepancies with the 501c stuff because I think LegalZoom had messed up something, so we had to have them send us stuff back, re-sign it, send it again. And now that we have new officers, we're having to change all that over, continue with the process, and get that going, so that that's solidified, and then we can move forward, with merch and with all the events that we're planning to do next year, um, and have all our ducks in a row for that, so that everything does transition and run smoothly.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, man. Well, hey, Jesse, just go out there and kill it. Have a great time. Remember, at some point,
Oh,
hopefully it's not, last minute, but hopefully sometime around Thursday, day before, you're going to get to a point where you're just going to be able to go, it's going to be what it's going to be at this point. Let's just relax and have fun. And you won't stress yourself out. That's the goal. That's the goal. You want to get to that point. We can't, not everybody can. It doesn't always happen, but just for your own sanity, try to get to that point where work your butt off until Thursday. But once Thursday comes, man, make those last minute preps and then just be like, hey, we gotta have fun. We gotta enjoy this.
yeah.
We can work. We gotta enjoy it and be there to enjoy the time with your brothers too. So I hope nothing but the best and success for you. Sounds like you guys going to be have a great event, great time with the where you're going to be, but also the money for the charity that you guys are locked up for. It's just awesome.
And it will be $10 for admission into the event, and then it will be an additional 10 if you would like to compete in any of the beard comp or costume competition.
Okay.
And I know that outside of BV, I don't have an accurate number, but I mean, just being myself from Charlotte, I have a long list of friends who have heard me talk about BV, and they see it on my Instagram. They hear me talk about it. They see me go out of town for stuff, and they kind of want to see what it's about. And I'm like, it's a charity event. It's open to everybody.
Yeah.
If you happen to have a beard and you want to compete and you enjoy it, hey, come holler at me, man. I can get you hooked up, LinkedIn, but I'm definitely excited to see my friends come out as well and see everything that BV is and the joy that we bring each other and our communities and stuff like that. It's going to be a good event. I need to stop stressing about it. It's going to be great.
Yeah. That's the thing. You stress about it leading up to it. But like I said, once you get to a certain point, it's time to you've done the work, you've done the work and let's go enjoy it. Let's go have a blast. So just do it. Just do that. Just do that. Enjoy it. Thanks so much, man, for spending some time with me today. I know we had to sneak it into your schedule and all. But
go fix this Silverado to get back to work.
All right, buddy. Thanks again. Have a great event and keep us posted on everything else, man.
Thank you. You guys have a great event as well.
All right. Talk to you soon, Jesse.
Later.
All right. All right. That was Jesse. Jesse talking to us about the Queen City's hosting of ECM coming up next weekend, October 13th and 14th. Hey, guys, what do you say? It's been an hour. I think that kind of wraps up our event for our episode for this week. Yeah. That's gonna wrap up. It's gonna quick. It's boom. We're done. I want to thank Jesse for talking to me today about East Coast meet coming up this weekend, or this next weekend, following up October 13th and 14th. I want to challenge you guys, as I always do, to be the villain that the world needs you to be, because the heart of a villain never stops beating. Now, I always say the most important words that I ever say on this microphone every week is I remind you that it's okay not to be okay. If you are hurting, please find a brother to talk to. Remember, it's okay not to be okay. Now, I say that hoping that if people feel they're not okay, that they understand that that's not the end of it. That's not the end of the sentence. More needs to happen. And you need to have the strength and find that strength to make a change in your life if you need to. Just knowing that it's okay not to be okay is the first step. It's not the only step in that road. So if you need to talk to somebody, go talk to somebody. Guys, that's going to wrap up episode 194. I will talk to you next week. I'll keep you posted on when it's going to be for episode 195. Till then, have a great weekend. Take care. Stay safe.